I saw this video this morning with, what is her name, Banfield and Mr. Gonsalves, and I find it quite interesting. It's 5 minutes and 30 seconds, so if you haven't seen it, I'm going to let it play. Then I'll come back with my commentary. There's a lot to be said about this video, but let's get into it.
He is the father of one of the 4 students killed, Kaylee Gonsalves. Steve, thank you for being on tonight. Just your reaction to getting this news. Was this a surprise, hearing that there's a date scheduled and it is December 28th?
Yeah, I was surprised that we're at a moment in the case that we don't even have a trial date. We've had a trial date for almost the vast majority of once they had a suspect. So we don't have a trial date, but we have a date to have, largely the biggest piece of evidence being destroyed, which just seems backwards.
I couldn't agree more with Steve. There's not a trial date. And granted, we could talk about, does it violate the rules of discovery? Well, it looks as though, from my understanding, I haven't gone that deep into Ann Taylor's involvement with going to the house, but I know I saw Seagirl post a video. Shout out to Seagirl. She posted a video with Ann Taylor entering the house. So even though Ann Taylor, as a public defender, and the prosecutor may agree, it is still concerning that they would, as Steve stated, that they would want to destroy the biggest piece of evidence. I mean, when you think about corruption, I'll tell you this. I have seen with my own eyes in various courts where, well, in a particular court where I was shocked to see that the public defender and the defendant for any criminal had a certain rapport. They would be laughing and joking and whatnot. And then when you think about it, they have a relationship because they deal with each other on a regular basis. And then when you talk about small towns and judges, I remember a family member of mine had observed some things, and we saw some things in a particular town. And they told me, they said, this is all connected, from the police to the judge to the mayor. It's all connected. And I was like, yeah, okay. And then as time progressed and I started to see, like, wow, they're all corrupt. They're all intertwined together. So I'm saying all of that to say, regardless if Ann Taylor went in, regardless if prosecution went in, there is still this issue of what if the jurors want to see? What if something comes up later that needs to be addressed? And then the largest piece of evidence is gone. That's extremely concerning to me.
I would have expected that something this monumental would have been discussed behind the scenes, that your lawyer, Shannon Gray, would have been in conversations at least to give you guys, enough time to process this. And it sounds like that's not the case. You didn't get much time, different than the time that we got in terms of this announcement.
No, and I kind of take this as from a perspective of that my opinion's not important. As a parent, that's not it. What is important is the lead investigators at the county, state, and federal level, and it is to my knowledge that they are not in all agreement. And we tried to get them to all come in agreement and address, come out with a formal statement. So if they can't all agree, I find it very hard for the parents to all agree. We're all trying to get through this the best way we can. I want to be absolutely respectful to every single one of the parents. I understand that this has to go down, and I'm not going to fight it forever. And I want to be careful what I fight, because this is a losing battle. But
well, it's a long battle as well, as we've come to
and
understand.
That's a big bomb for Steve to drop. Mr. Gonsalves to drop, to say that the lead investigators, they can't even come to an agreement on so they're not all 100% in agreement on whether the home 1122 should be destroyed at this time. And to me, that just makes me wonder about, again, the relationships between the prosecutor, the public defender, the judge, the coroner, police, etc. And I think that being that they can't agree, that then it should still stand, at least through the trial.
That brings me to the issue of Mrs. Chapin. Ethan Chapin's mom, Stacy, has given that statement to me saying that, we're okay with this at this point. We agree with the university. We think it's in the best interest of the kids who are there, including her 2 kids, and the community as a whole. What are your thoughts about that?
I totally respect it. I get it. I have leaked footage. I've seen things that they may have not seen. I know for a fact the path that this white salon, this car took, and people are going to wonder what he was doing when he parks in certain locations for extended amount of time. What was he looking at? I want to know what he was looking at, and I don't know how you can see what this man was looking at without the house being there. What windows was he peering into? Why did he pick that location to stop at? Why did he keep going back to these certain locations? And I don't know about the other 12 or 13 times that he was there. I just know of the day that this happened and the footage that was given to me. So I'm going to do what's best for my girl. I'm going to protect her. I'm going to weigh on the side of what's best for her and making sure that I'm not going to let something slip through our hands that I could have said something. But I do understand it has to go.
I feel, Steve, when he says, it's interesting because he's saying certain footage was given to him, and he wants to know what this individual in the alleged Elantra, well, he's seen it, right? So maybe he knows for sure it wasn't Elantra. But that wherever this individual was sitting when they were creeping, it sounds like it was multiple times, maybe even that evening. And he's saying, well, what window was he creeping in? So I'm wondering, did whoever it was, did they park, then walk around the house? Because Steve is making a good point that, okay, depending on where he's sitting, the angle he's sitting, are they talking about, okay, what could he view? What could he see from the car? Because depending on the footage, right? Because we don't know. Did he? Well, I'm gonna say we don't know that the person actually got out, and that would be caught on any footage. So, and I think Steve is absolutely I know he's on the right track. There shouldn't be any debate on his angle. And yeah, Ethan's parents, they have their way of dealing with things. They don't. And all due respect to that. However, Ethan's mom mentions, oh, okay, for the community as a whole, it's better for the evidence not to be there. No, for the community, for the university, for the people that need to make money, for the new students coming in. So it just makes me wonder, too, like, is Ethan's, are Ethan's parents on some, they know they don't want to ruffle any feathers, so they're going to gracefully bow out. Maybe it's deeper than we know with that. Or maybe they're just on some, what? Ethan's gone, and they're just ready to move on with their lives.